Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Taya and this is Taya's Turning Pages. So as you can see by the title of today's video, we are going to go over all of the books that I hope to read during the month of September. But before we jump into that, I did want to address a few things. You guys know I always have to give a few disclaimers and a few life updates, I feel like, in all of my videos. But you know, it is what it is. So first things first, as you can see, my background is slightly a bit different because I finally cleared out this room in order to make it my library / office. I said in a few videos back that I actually decided to start filming my booktube content and just book content overall at my parents' house in my old room because my current apartment is just so noisy, even worse than the one before. I'm really grateful to my parents for letting me, like I said, transform my old room into my library / office space. And so I finally got the ball rolling on that. I cleared out all of the junk, the bed, everything that I had in here. And during the next coming weeks, I am going to finally set up this space and I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. So definitely make sure you subscribe and turn on those post notifications so that way you'll be notified when I start making that type of content. But as of right now, this is the temporary setup that I have, but I promise it won't be like this for too long. And going off of that a little bit more, as you can also see, I have a mic. This is a mic that I actually bought a couple of months back from Amazon. It was like $30, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it's not the best mic. I use it mostly when I need to film a quick little clip for one of my videos, like if I forgot to say something and I just wanted to jump in post editing. I needed it for today because since there's really no furniture in here, it's very, very echoey. So fingers crossed that this mic works and that the audio isn't 100% terrible. But if it is, I'm so sorry, y'all. Like I said, it won't be like this for long, so just bear with me. And then the last thing that I needed to mention is that this TBR is going to be a little bit different just because I do have a lot of exciting content planned that I'm going to share throughout the month of September, as well as just, you know, during the holiday season, of course, but specifically for September. And what's included in that exciting content are more reading vlogs. So I wanted to say I appreciate all of you who answered my poll in my community tab where I asked you what types of videos you want to see from me in the next couple of months. And a lot of you voted for reading vlogs. So thank you so much for that feedback. It really means a lot and it really helps me in terms of planning content. I'm not going to include those books that will be featured in those videos in this video because of course I want to keep it a surprise. But the books that I'm going to share with you today are books that I have had on my TBR for a little bit, or just books that I really, really want to get to. So with all of that out of the way, let's finally get started. So the first book that I have here is Queen Move by Kennedy Ryan. This is a book that I actually never talked about on my channel. I completely forgot to haul this in my Pango book unboxing video. I will leave that linked up above in the card somewhere just in case you haven't checked that out. I filmed it a while ago, but like I said, I completely forgot to include this book and I was so mad about it because I feel like not too many people know that this exists. But I have seen that they are republishing her books and this one is included. So I can only imagine that more and more people are going to find out about this book. This is technically a standalone book, but the female main character in this book, Kimba, was actually featured in the All Kingsman duology. So if you've been a consistent viewer, then you know how much I love the All Kingsman duology, aka the Kingmaker and the Rebel King. That is one of my favorite duologies of all time, and I just love the storytelling and everything that goes into that duology. But like I was saying, the female main character in this book does appear in that duology. So I do recommend reading that duology first. You don't necessarily have to, I don't think, but I think it would be more fun for you as the reader to just read those first. And of course, it provides you with a little bit more context and background and setup on Kimba that you wouldn't get, I feel like, if you just dive right into this book. I'm really happy that Kimba is getting her own story because I really liked reading about her, the All Kingsman duology, and I was hoping that we would get a story about her. And we did. So love that for me. I'm actually just going to read the synopsis on the back of this book because I genuinely don't know what this book is about. Even though I know it's about Kimba, I don't know which direction her story is going to take. So on the back here it says, "The boy who always felt like mine is the man I can't have. Dig a little and you'll find photos of me in the bathtub with Ezra Stern. Get your mind out of the gutter. We were 6 months old. Pry and one of us might confess we saved our first kiss for each other. The most clumsy, wet, sloppy, spectacular 30 seconds of my adolescence. Get into our business and you'll see two families closer than blood, torn apart in an instant. 20 years later, my awkward duckling best friend from childhood, the boy no one noticed, is a man no one can ignore. Finer, fiercer, smarter. Taken. Tell me it's wrong. Tell me the boy who always felt like mine is now the man I can't have. When we find each other again, everything stands in our way. Secrets, lies, promise. but we didn't come this far to give up now. And I know just the move to make if I want to make him mine. So as you can hear by that synopsis, this is going to be a second chance romance, as well as of course having themes of friends to lovers. And I'm not the biggest fan of friends to lovers, but I have read a few books recently that do fall into that trope, and I don't hate it as much as I used to. I still prefer enemies to lovers regardless, but I am slowly starting to gain an appreciation for friends to lovers. But going back to Queen Move, I'm very excited to give this a read, and of course I'm very happy to be back into the world of Kennedy Ryan. I haven't read one of her books since I read Hookshot back in May, I'm pretty sure. So even though that doesn't sound like a long time, to me that's a long time. If you know, you know. I also wanted to quickly say that this is the older cover of Queen Move, so if you do end up buying this book new from like a bookstore, because like I said, all of Kennedy Ryan's books are now being republished, but if you do end up buying Queen Move in store, it's not going to look like this. I did get this off of Pango Books, and this was the original cover. If you take a look at the All Kingsman duology, you'll see it fits the same vibe. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually really prefer these covers over the new ones. Even though I think the new covers are stunning, they're more discreet, I just prefer these ones more. I feel like these look really sleek. And I'm not one that typically goes for books that have real life people on the cover, but I don't mind this one. The next book that I have here, I feel like should be no surprise, but it is Final Offer by Lauren Asher. So of course I had to throw this book into my September TBR because you guys have heard me go on and on and on about Lauren Asher and about the Dreamland Billionaire series, and this is the final book in the series. Even though I'm not ready for it to end, I know it needs to because there are so many other books that I have to get through, especially before the end of the year. And of course, with a lot of the content that I planned out for the rest of the year, I need to make sure that this is finished. So this will be getting read in September. I'm going to manifest that now. But as you can see, this book is very chunky. This book is 590 pages, by far the longest book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. Honestly, it makes sense. The main male character in here, Cal, does have a lot of emotional baggage, and he has a lot of demons that he's fighting. You can definitely tell in the earlier books that there was going to be a lot of setup when it came to Cal and his story, and I'm really excited because Cal is definitely my favorite brother out of the Kane brothers, and that was solidified when I read Terms and Conditions. So I'm really looking forward to jumping into this story. The only thing that I know about this is that it follows Cal. Cal has to follow some rules that were outlined in his grandfather's will, and the rule for Cal is that he has to go back to his hometown and sell his grandfather's house. There is a problem with that, and I'm not sure how this works out. I'm sure you'll find out once you jump into the story, but apparently Cal's love interest actually owns the deed to Cal's grandfather's house, and so Cal cannot sell this house without of course speaking to Lana first. And this is a problem for Cal because Cal has not seen Lana in about I think like 6 years, and they did not end on good terms. Throughout the story, you are going to follow Cal and Lana trying to navigate this new normal, as well as just trying to I think rekindle their friendship, but also the blossoming romance that they had all those years ago. And the story takes off from there. I just have a feeling that this book is going to be very hard-hitting, very heartwarming, and I'm just so happy that Cal is going to get his love story and his happily ever after because he deserves, okay? He truly does, and he has become one of my favorite characters out of the entire Dreamland Billionaires series. So I'm just really happy that we're finally going to have a story that focuses on him and mostly him, and I can't wait to find out what went wrong between him and Lana and how they're going to get back on track. The second to last book that I have to share with you is Nighthawk by Beverly Jenkins. If you've been a consistent viewer, you have seen this book pop up in multiple videos on my channel. I still have not read this book yet, y'all. As you can see, it's so embarrassing that I will talk about books over and over again in a lot of my TBR videos and still have yet to read them. Like, being a mood reader is one of the most challenging things when it comes to being a reader, in my opinion. You just never know if you're really going to be feeling a book that you talked about, earlier in the month when it is time to actually read it. And that's just how it goes for me. But I really miss reading Beverly Jenkins. You guys know I am the Beverly Jenkins girl, okay? I have not read an historical romance in so long, and I'm fiending for one. I love how comforting and familiar and heartwarming these books are. But of course, Beverly Jenkins always does something new with these stories, and I don't know how she does it, but she always finds a way, to me, to outdo herself with every single story. All of her books have been rated either 5 or 4.5 stars. I have not rated anything less than that because she just gets me. Like, I don't know, she just knows, like I said, how to pull on my heartstrings as an avid romance reader. And so I will always go up for Beverly Jenkins. I will always recommend her and talk about her. But jumping into the synopsis, this story follows a character named Ian, aka Nighthawk, aka Preacher. He has many names that he goes by. For the sake of this, we're just going to call him Ian. And Ian is technically a bounty hunter, so he goes out of his way to find criminals and bring them to justice, essentially. And Ian has been doing this for years. This is his job. He's always traveling, always bouncing messing around. And unfortunately, Ian lost his wife years ago. I think that was a result of his job, but he hasn't, of course, gotten over his wife's tragic death. And so Ian has really been just focusing on his work and really just letting his job consume him. But of course, he also focuses on his faith and just making sure that he is spreading the word of the Lord, essentially. That's where his nickname Preacher comes into play. Other characters in the Beverly Jenkins universe knows that Ian is the type to drop Bible verses and to really just give sound advice to friends and family and those who need it. And he does it, of course, in a spiritual way. But anyways, Ian is a bounty hunter, and his latest job is finding this woman named Maggie who allegedly committed this crime. And Ian finds Maggie, and of course he is trying to, arrest her and take her to jail. Ian and Maggie start to get to know each other, and they start to realize that the other one isn't as bad as they think, and the story takes off from there. Ian is one of my favorite characters that we have been introduced to in the Beverly Jenkins universe. I really love his calm demeanor. He is truly one of my top book boyfriends, and so I just know that this story is going to be right up my alley. And the last book that I have here to share with you is Digital Black Feminism by Katherine Knight Steele. So I actually showed this book a couple of months back, and I still haven't picked it up yet, but I'm hoping to get to it in September. It is fairly short. This is a topic that I find not only very interesting, but it really does matter to me as a Black woman. I'm always looking for books and articles that speak to feminism, but specifically Black feminism, because of course there are certain nuances and layers to it. This book pretty much just focuses on Black women's relationship to technology and the digital space, and just how algorithmic bias and social media and the internet overall impacts Black women. This book is really just going to take a closer look at all of those topics, and I think that this is just a very fitting book for me too, because with me working in the social media space, both professionally and personally, this is something that is always at the top of my mind as a Black woman creator, and so it's nice to just have some context and some background into why certain things are the way that they are. So yeah, I actually found out about this book through a YouTuber, and her name is Kim Foster. I will leave Kim's channel link down below. She's truly one of my favorite people on YouTube. I watch her videos all the time. I'm a huge commentary girly. Once she recommended this, I knew I needed to add it to my TBR. And like I said, I'm really hoping that I can get to it during the month of September, because I haven't been reading nonfiction as much as I normally do. And I really want to get back into it, especially ahead of nonfiction November, because I do plan on reading a few books during November. And I just feel like this is a great stepping stone back into the genre. It's only 157 pages, but the text is small, so I feel like this is going to take me a little bit to get through, especially because there's no audiobook that I can find for this, and I usually like to read my nonfiction books via audiobook, specifically through Audible or Libby, but like I said, I could not find one for this, so I'm gonna have to go old school and just read this physically. Hopefully it doesn't feel like a straight up textbook to me. Now, honestly, if it does, it's not that big of a deal. I love learning and I love brushing up on topics like this that I'm passionate about, so it is what it is, right, y'all? And those are all of the books that I had to share with you today. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I am going to have other books that are going to be read during the month of September, but they're going to be included in secret reading vlogs. So just make sure you stay tuned for that. But those were the core books that I wanted to show you today. And I know this video is a little bit different in terms of the setup and me with the books and the mic. I know there was a lot going on. I really hope the audio checks out for this video. We will see when I go to edit this, but it's temporary, so it's totally fine. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me, my channel out. And lastly, please make sure you follow me on Bookstagram as well as Storygraph. I will leave all of that information linked down below, as well as at the end of the video like I always do. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!